What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? We are back with Process of Elimination. Hopefully the volume is a little better than it was in the last one. The music was super loud. Okay, so we were supposed to have Posh Detective.
おっと、家族くんね。美食くんと連携させたことにへそを曲げて、私からの連絡を遮断したな。
Okay, so if we annoy them, then they can't participate. This is a really interesting way of doing a detective game. I like it. It's simple, but effective. Oh my, Posh is disgruntled that we made her work with Gourmet. It would seem that she's blocked me from contacting her.
できないじゃないか。家族くんは本当に面白い子だよ。
We won't be able to intervene with her like this. She certainly is amusing, that Posh.
それじゃどうするんですか?
What? So what do we do now?
探偵たちはプログラムでなく人間だからな。このように介入ができない探偵も当然いるさ。
Detectives aren't programs. They're humans. It's only natural for there to be detectives with whom you cannot intervene.
だからこそ、指示する側の人間には臨機応変な指示が求められる。例えば、今回なら科学くんへ指示を出すようにするとかな。
As such, whoever does the instructing must be able to adapt to the situation. In this instance, we can try giving directions to Techie
科
instead.
学くんならこの証拠品も的確な検証を行えるはず。さあ、絨毯の切れ端の検証を命じるんだ。
Techie should also be capable of performing a precise analysis of this evidence. Now, tell him to analyze that section of carpet. When the icon above the detective turns red, you will be unable to intervene in their actions, so these individuals will decide actions on their own to prepare for trouble and respond accordingly. That's cool. Evidence you've collected can be analyzed. Oh shit, I didn't want to...
僕にご用ですか?
Okay, so I'm guessing it's the ones with the, Can I re-get that tutorial? Does not look like it. I accidentally pressed B and skipped out of it. Alright, analyze. So I'm guessing the ones with the beaker is the one that you can analyze. He's got an analyzation of 5 against 4, so we should be good. Perform a preliminary investigation to have Techie analyze the evidence. Use preliminary investigations to stall time and keep tabs on other detectives' actions. Okay.
この絨毯の切り口、科学的に考えるならあれを使ったとしか説明がつかない。
This scrap of carpet, when we approach it scientifically, there's only one explanation for how it was cut.
早くエントランスホールの床を調べないと。
Quick, we need to investigate the floor of the entrance hall.
エクセレント。やったじゃないか。新たに推理すべき箇所が見つかったぞ。
Excellently done. Now we have something new to
留
consider.
年残り少ない。家族探偵に指示ができない中で、あの箇所を推理するならどうすべきか。わかるか?
Okay, there isn't much time. Since we cannot direct Posh, what should we do to draw an inference on this new point of interest? Any thoughts? New MPs and ESs will appear as the detectives advance the investigation. It is recommended to do preliminary investigations first, so that other detectives can still act afterwards. This will help streamline the process, as they can then move closer to new MPs and ESs that appear. Alright, sorry about that, guys. We hit an error or something, and game kicked me out to the dashboard. And then I found out it doesn't autosave, and I can't save during the investigation, so I had to go all the way back to the start of the last video and fast forward all the way through until we got back to here. So, let's talk about what we just learned. So the preliminary investigation is kind of cool. because essentially it lets you take your turns piecemeal instead of all at once. So, you know, for stuff like that, you have to analyze. It's a good idea. And I'm sure there's going to be other things that would make it a good idea. Cat, stop. Okay, I guess I'm playing one-handed right now because my cat has decided this is my hand. And he's not going to let me have it back. Oh, okay. Thanks, little guy. What was I about to say? So that is what's going on with the preliminary investigation. The other thing, analyzing, because I actually read the tutorial this time, apparently if you get it from an evidence square, it has to be analyzed. If it's inferred, you do not. So, there you go. Heads up. Okay, so now intervene on Gourmet and Doleful to have them infer at the mystery point. She infers at 6.
何か用かな。どうしたの？これが答え。どうかしたの？
グッド、ときめかせてくれるな。捜査の結果が楽しみだよ。
So does that count as assisting, or are they just both doing or are they both inferring? I guess it's not an assist because you're adding their infers together, not their assistance to an infer. I'm taking a shot in the dark here. Well done, you are a joy to behold. I look forward to seeing the results of your investigation.
ああ、そうだ。移動していない探偵がいて、向かってほしい場所がある場合は指示を出しておくといい。
Oh yes, if there's a detective who is yet to move and you'd like them to go elsewhere, you should instruct them to do so.
検証しか行っていない科学君などがいい例だな。謎はエントランスホールに集中しているんだ。移動してもらっておこう。
Take Techie, for example. Since he's only done an analysis so far, this mystery is centered in the entrance hall, so let's have him head there. Okay, a detective who acted but did not move may do so following a preliminary investigation. Preemptively move individuals to the next point of suspicion to further aid your investigation. Okay. Okay, so it is kind of like turn-based strategy games where, you know, you have action and movement.
今の通りだよ。これで次にエントランスホールで何かしてほしい行動がある場合、行動が遅れずに済むだろう。
Wonderful. Just like that, now when you want him to perform an action in the entrance hall, he can do so without wasting any time.
もう推理すべき謎もなくなりますよね。
But won't the mysteries we're investigating there be gone by then?
さて、それはどうかな。推理の結果を楽しみにしておくといい。
I wonder about that. We'll just have to await the results of their deductions with bated breath.
もし手持ち無沙汰な探偵がいたら、ひとまず周囲を調査してもらうのがおすすめだ。
Also, I would suggest having any idle detectives inspect the area.
無関係ではあるが、面白いものが見つかるかもしれないからな。
Though it might not directly pertain to the case, they could happen upon something interesting.
準備ができたなら、探偵たちに捜査開始の指示を出そう。
Now, once you're ready, instruct them to begin the investigation. Upon starting an investigation, those you haven't intervened with will perform predetermined actions. If you notice any idle detectives, it's a good idea to check what actions they can perform. Detectives who don't act can relocate to any space on the map. To do so, select move, then press Y. Be aware, however, that a detective will be unable to act after a map-wide movement. Okay.
はいはい。少女は負傷。
Oh, okay, so I can just full out relocate them to a totally different location, but then they won't be able to perform an action. Okay, that's cool. So that's how you get people to move around quickly.
神に感謝だ。 神に感謝だ。神に感謝だ。
I want to know what's on this spot.
これは容器の
Inspect
気配。
it.
良好だな。
This information seems useful. I should share it with the others.
あら、この床、よく見ると床板同士に隙間ができているわね。この隙間のおかげで音が下に通りやすいのかしら。
Her personality is out again. Oh, the floor. On closer inspection, I can see gaps between the boards. Maybe that explains how sound travels so easily down
この隙間
below.
ならワイヤーだって通すことができるはず。犯人が死体をバラバラにした方法ってもしかしたら。
The gaps are also wide enough to pass a wire through. This might be something to do with how the culprit dismembered the body.
やはりな。床の隙間と絨毯の切れ端の関係性を紐解いたことで、入り口の扉付近にミステリーポイントとエビデンススクエアが出現した。
Haha, solving the connection between the floor gaps and the carpet caused a mystery point and an evidence square to appear by the entrance.
探偵にエントランスホールへ来てもらっておいて正解でしたね。
Then we made the right call having Techie Detective moved to the entrance
そうだ
hall.
よ。一つ謎が解ければ新たな謎が生まれることもあるんだ。肝に銘じておこう。
Indeed, we did. Sometimes solving one mystery leads to another. Be sure to keep that in mind.
次は私は口出ししない。君が一人で探偵たちに指示を出してみるんだ。
Alright, I'm not gonna tell you what to do next. This time, you must command the detectives on your own.
無理ですよ。
Huh? There's no way Shit. There's no way I can do that. I'm sorry if you heard my can snap. I was gripping it too hard.
無理じゃない。ここまで君は私の期待通り素晴らしい指示を見せてくれたじゃないか。
Can't you? You've been giving great direction so far, just as I anticipated you would.
さあ、次は私の期待を超えてみせてくれ。君がその手で複雑怪奇な事件を紐解くんだ。
Now you must exceed my expectations. It's up to you to unravel this bizarre and formidable case. Her hydrangea eyes bore into me, rendering me speechless. She's serious. Her gaze holds no mirth, only anticipation. The chief of the DA is looking at me with an utter incompetence. If I turn back now, how will I ever become an exceptional detective?
やってみます。期待を超えてみせます。
I'll do it. In fact, I'll go above and beyond.
ありがとう。では私に見せてくれ。君の推理を。
Good. Show me how your mind works then. I look at the D-pad, the gears of my brain whirring frantically. Okay, some mystery points are locked. You can access these MPs by solving other MPs beforehand or by analyzing evidence. Detectives will still attempt to investigate locked MPs, so be sure to analyze whenever possible. Okay. I'm gonna check something real quick. There we go. Music still seemed a little too loud. As far as evidence goes, everything has been analyzed that we can. I'm trying to figure out what we learned. From whatever that was that he found, but
少々この辺りが
have
怪
her
しいですね。
inspect that room.
神に
少
感謝だ。
々かがみ込む。
神に感謝だ。
And let's have him do a map-wide movement and have him move all the way there. To be frankly, we don't need them right now. I'm kind of using them as floaters, just in case something pops up around the other parts of the map.
僕にご用ですか
Can he... Oh, his inspection is crap.
何か用かな。どうしたの？感じるよ、脅威の気配。
So, can I preliminary?
何かスイッチがある。
Okay, so
何のスイッチなんだろう。
okay, so you can kind of use it as like staged movement essentially. So like the people that I've already moved and given actions to will act in the preliminary. So I can't just do move one person preliminary. I think I only get one preliminary each turn. There's some sort of switch on the wall. I wonder what it's for. How very intriguing, mused the girl, imitating the genius physics professor in a certain TV show. What is the new keyword? I'm very curious about that. Okay, so he's already moved and can't perform an action because he did a map-wide movement. He's already moved and done all of his actions. We can't interact or can't intervene with Posh.
実験を始めましょうか
We're gonna have to analyze the wall switch.
ようですね
Can I? Oh, okay, I can preliminary again.
「科学的に考えましょう」
Okay, so I can preliminary. You know, I'm probably not going to do it character by character, but okay. I see. The switch winds the chandelier's chains back up, suspending it from above, where you utilize the that potential
見
energy.
事だ。今のようにそれまで推理できなかったミステリーポイントがエビデンスの検証によって推理可能となる例も少なくない。
Okay, so I'm guessing because we already found out that the chandelier was nicked and cut, and that there's holes in the floor or whatever that can go down to the next level. So my guess is that a wire was tied around the chandelier, fed down, tied around the body, and then the chandelier was raised, which then caused enough force to dismember the body. It's my guess. Splendid. We couldn't infer anything about the MP before, but analyzing the evidence has made it possible. This will happen quite often.
どんな情報が必要かよく見極めていこう。
Always ensure you find the information needed to properly make an inference. Okay, that one's going to be a 13. And she's not going to make
お
it.
姉さんに何かご用？
And we can't really do
お姉
anything
さんに何かご用？
else with her. So we can't assist. We can't inspect. And we can't infer. So she's pretty much done what she can.
僕にご用ですか
I'm just gonna move him and
僕にご用ですか
okay, I guess never mind. I won't move him because I think I accidentally canceled out the action. I think we're good with everyone. Six hours until elimination. Okay, so she's gonna go and infer with a point of 2.
お姉さんに何かご用？どうかしたの？
Let's add another
もう謎はお腹いっぱい
6 to it.
どうしたの？
Really, you can't move there? Is the chandelier blocking him? Oh, the chandelier's low to the floor. Okay. The perspective was screwing with my eyes.
僕にご用ですか？
Techie, you can kind of do whatever.
少女はこくりとうなずいてみせた。
Move her into that room. And really, I don't need a preliminary here. This information seems useful. I should share it with the others. Okay, so we knocked it down to 5.
どうかしたの？ディナーの前
Tell
に
her
ど
to
うちゃいます？
infer. Run a preliminary.
うん？
So, pushing the switch raises the chandelier back up. To use this in the crime, you'd need a way to change how the wire moves. I think I'll catch a ride to the top and see where that gets me. Sure, let's continue to the results. Oh, I didn't get all the keywords. Oh, that sucks. Oh, I can save now? I think it's a bit weird that you can't save in the middle of the investigation, but whatever.
最高にときめく指示だったぞ。君がそばにいてくれて本当に良かった。
Wonderful, you gave such clear instruction. I truly am grateful to have you with
みん
me.
なに暖炉のあるリビングへ集まるよう指示を出したから、私たちも向かうとしよう。
I told the others to meet by the fireplace. We should hurry there ourselves.
私たち全員でこの複雑怪奇な事件の真相を解明しようじゃないか。
It's time for all of us to get to the bottom of this intricate, baffling case.
理想さん。
Excuse me, Ideal? I call out to stop Ideal Detective as we make our way back.
教えてください。僕をこの島に呼んだ本当の理由って何なんですか？
Please tell me, what's the real reason you brought me to this island? I can't help but ask. I need to know the rest of what she was going to say earlier. After all, why would someone as bumbling as myself be invited to stand amongst a talented crowd of detectives like this? And for the chief of the DA to place so much trust in me, it's nothing short of bizarre.
自分の実力は自分が一番分かっています。あなたの寵愛を受けるほど僕は優秀じゃありません。
I understand my limitations better than anyone. My talents are undeserving of your good graces.
それにあなたは明らかに僕を見知った様子だ。一体僕に何をさせたいんですか？僕みたいな素人がこの島で何をしろって言うんですか？
But the real kicker is the way you clearly know me. Just what is it you want from me? What's a nobody like me even doing on this island? My shouts echo down the hall as every pent-up question I have comes bursting out at once. I just can't understand why this world-famous detective would act so cryptic toward me.
すまない。意地悪が過ぎたな。
Sorry. I've been a bit mean-spirited, haven't I? Ideal gives a wry smirk, then scratches her cheek.
君の困り顔が見たいと私の中のいたずら坊やが悪さをしてしまってな。君が自分から気づいてくれるまで黙っておこうかと思っていたんだ。
My inner devil wanted to see the bewildered look of yours, and it got the better of me. I've been planning to keep quiet until you
まあ
noticed.
10年ぶりの再会なんだ。サプライズをしたいという私の心情も汲んでくれると嬉しいな。ワト君。
This is our first meeting in 10 years. After all, surely you can understand how I'd want to surprise you a bit, Watto.
10年ぶりの再会。それにワト君って。
Our first meeting in 10 years. Wait, did you just call me Watto? Could it really be? My heart catches in my throat. Only one person. Someone I met 10 years ago called me by that name. But there's just no way.
ずっと再会する日を夢見てきたんだ。探偵同盟への加入が決まった君をこの会議に呼んでしまうのも無理からぬというものだろう。
I've dreamt of this reunion for ages. Inviting you here wasn't completely outrageous now that you've been scouted into the DA.
私の本名はサイカ・シェリンフォード・ホームズ。10年前に君に救われたものだよ。
My real name is Saika Sharonford Holmes. 10 years ago, you saved my life.
嘘だ！
That's impossible. My voice comes out in a shout before I could curb it. I breathe deeply, but the shock won't subside. Ideal detective is Saika? It can't be. I saw her covered in blood right before me.
サイカちゃんが生きているわけない。僕は彼女の無念を晴らしたくてこれまで頑張ってきたのに、それなのに
There's no way Saika is alive. Avenging her has been my motivation all this time. But now?
落ち着け。
Calm yourself. Ideal comes close and softly cups my cheeks. I'm startled by the sudden intimacy, but her arm around my waist keeps me in place. Wait, how do you cup somebody's cheek? Well, I guess you can do it with one hand. Okay, I was thinking you should grab both of his cheeks with both hands, but then I saw her arm around his waist. I was like, wait, how'd that work?
君はどうやらあの牢獄での記憶を忘却してしまっているようだ。よほど君にとって深い心の傷だったのだな。
God, can I play a detective game without amnesia? You seem to have lost your memories of our time in that prison. It must have left quite an emotional
無
scar.
理に思い出そうとして心が壊れてしまってはいけない。徐々に思い出していけばいいさ。あの日どのようにして私を救い出してくれたのかをな。
No need to force yourself. It'll only cause your heart grief. Remember, little by little, about how you rescued me that day.
僕は本当にあなたを。
Did I really?
ああ、先ほどみんなの前で語った言葉に嘘はない。君は確かに私を救ってくれた。だから今もこうして生きている。
Yes, what I said to the others wasn't a lie. You truly did save me. You're the reason I'm alive today.
敵は私が思うよりもずっと狡猾で冷酷だった。私一人の力では探偵同盟は全滅を免れない。君の手助けが必要なんだ。
But our enemy is far more cold and calculating than anticipated. I've no hope of preventing the DA's eradication alone. I need your help, Watto.
君をこの場に呼んだのは本当に君の力が必要だからだよ。今はただこの言葉を信じてくれ。
I summoned you here because I'm in desperate need of your abilities. For now, please, just believe me. Ideal gazes at me with the sadness that reminds me of the Saika I once knew. That vulnerable, girlless expression taking the place of her usual, sagacity? I don't know that word. Was nearly identical. But I can't help but wonder if this is truly the same person.
本当にサイカちゃんなの？
Is it really you, Saika?
ようやくその名前で呼んでくれたな。嬉しいよ。
You finally used my name. I couldn't be happier. A relieved smile spreads across Ideal Detective's face. It doesn't seem like an act. She's sincerely happy to be reunited with me.
覚えておくといい。私たち探偵が本名を伝えるのは心から相手を信頼した時だけだ。
Remember, we detectives only share our true names with those we completely
誰が
trust.
疑おうとも、君が君自身を信じられずとも、たとえ君に疑念を向けられようとも、私は君を信じ続けよう。
No matter who doubts or suspects you, be it the others or even yourself. I will always be on your side.
だから私の活躍を隣で見守っていてくれ。そうしていればきっと真実も思い出せるはずだろうからな。
So stay by mine and observe my work. I'm certain you'll recall the truth if you do. Ideal steps back from me, her expression already reverting to its usual dignified air. Between her countenance as chief of the DA and the vulnerable girl, I'm not sure which is real. There's so much cause for suspicion. And yet,
まだ僕には何が正しいのか分かりません。だ
I still don't know the truth.
けど今のあなたの言葉は真実だと信じます。いや、信じたいんです。
But I'll choose to believe in your words, which is to say, I want to believe in them.
今まで何度も過去に戻ってサイカちゃんを救いたいって考えてきましたから。
I've played the past out in my mind countless times, wishing I could have saved you, Saika. I wasn't able to do so back then, so I truly want to believe what she's saying, that Saika's alive, even if those sweet words are mere deceit.
ただもちろん 100% 信じたわけじゃありません。言われた通り隣で見極めさせてもらいますよ。
But still, I don't buy it 100%. Like you said, I'll stick with you and try and figure things out,
さんの言葉が真実かどうか。
such as whether or not you're telling the truth.
ああ、望むところだよ、ワト君。私の一挙一動をつぶさに観察するといい。
That's all I wish for, Watto. Observe my every move with your utmost
一つだ
attention.
けお願いするとしたら、理想さん呼びは勘弁してもらいたいな。他人行儀すぎてこそばゆいよ。
If I have one request, however, it's that you stop calling me ideal. It's far too formal for my liking.
二人きりの時くらい、昔のようにサイカちゃんと呼んでくれないか？
When it's only the two of us, would you mind calling me Saika, like back in the old days?
いや、それはあなたが本当にサイカちゃんだって信じたわけじゃありませんし。
Wait just a second. I didn't mean I actually believe you're Saika yet.
変なところで意地っ張りなのは昔から変わらないな。
Stubborn as ever, aren't you? And always over the silliest things.
じゃあせめて普段からホームズ呼びで頼むよ。こちらの名前は他の探偵にも知れ渡っているから問題ないしな。
Very well. Address me as Holmes, then. The other detectives know me by this name, so that shouldn't be a problem.
わかりました。ホームズさん。
Got it. Holmes. It's so weird because every time I say it, I feel like they're, I don't know, doing like that cholo gangbanger, you know, like that stereotypical thing from movies where they're calling everyone Holmes.
よし、有効の処方を踏めたな、ワト君。
This is our first step towards friendship, Watto. Holmes's face beams with genuine elation. The fact that it's moving me so easily is proof enough that I'm a rookie detective. Come on, Watto Hojo. Get it together. The D-pad pings with a notification. The others must have gathered in the living room by now.
さて、それではこの事件にケリをつけるとしようか。
Now, shall we close the book on this case? I follow Holmes as she heads to the living room. I've no clue what she could want from me, but I've decided to trust her for now. If I stay by her side, the truth behind why I was brought here may finally come to light. All 13 detectives, including Holmes and myself, gather around the room. Holmes adds a few logs to the crackling fire before turning to address us.
やあ、探偵諸君。それぞれの役割をこなしてくれてありがとう。
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank each of you for doing your part.
みんなのおかげで老子探偵を八つ咲きにしたトリックの正体をつかめたよ。あとはその全容を明らかにしていくだけだ。
Due to your efforts, we have uncovered the method used to dismember Senior Detective. Now it's simply a matter of laying it out.
教えてください、ホームズさん。一体犯人は誰なんですか？
Please tell us, Holmes. Who's the culprit?
実に庶民らしい落ち着きのない男ですわね。犯人の前にまず明らかにしないといけないものがあるでしょ。
Oh, how like a commoner to heedlessly jump the gun before revealing the culprit. Is there not a matter we must clarify first?
明らかにしないといけないものって。
What matter would that be?
それは老子探偵をどのように殺害したかですわ。
Why, the manner by which Senior Detective was slain, of course.
家族くんの言う通りだよ。まずは誰がしたかよりも誰にできたかから考え、事件の外堀を埋めていこう。
I agree. Instead of focusing on who did it, let's consider who could have done it and eliminate some of the obstacles in our
家
way.
族くんの考えではどのように老子探偵は殺害されたのだと思う？
How do you suppose Senior Detective was killed, Posh?
ズバリシャンデリアのトラップと連動したトリックですわ。
Put simply, with an artifice working in concert with the chandelier trap.
シャンデリアのトラップと連動？それって僕が扉を開けた時に作動した
In concert with the chandelier trap? You mean I set it into motion when I opened the door? The chandelier had crashed down the moment I stepped through the entrance of the manor. After that, I was out cold until the DA arrived. The culprit utilized the trap, but for what purpose?
無能くん、粘土で遊んだことはあるかい？
Have you ever played with clay
粘
incompetent?
土をできるだけきれいに両断しようと思ったなら、君はどうする？刃物などを使ってもなかなかうまくいかないだろう？
Say you want to cut it in half as cleanly as possible. How would you do it? Even a knife would give you some trouble, no?
学校ではテグスなどの細い糸を巻きつけて引っ張る方法を学んだ覚えがあります。
Back in school, I remember we learned to wrap a nylon string around the clay and pull it to split it apart.
グッド。ならば次の質問だ。
Good. Now for the
も
next
し粘
question.
土を切り刻む原理で鋭利なワイヤーを人間に巻きつけ、思い切り引っ張ればどうなるかな？
Following that principle for cutting clay, what would happen if you wrapped a sharp wire around a person, then tightened it?
それって。
You mean... Senior Detective's mutilated body flashes across my mind, and my skin prickles. That wire was definitely sharp enough. If you were to wrap it around someone and yank it, they would be sliced apart almost effortlessly, just like clay.
察しがついたみたいだね。そう。ワイヤーで何かを切ろうと思うなら、巻きつけた後に引っ張るだけでいい。
You get the idea, I presume. If one wanted to cut something with a wire, their best option would be to wind it around and pull.
でもさ、粘土じゃなくて人間の体じゃん？人力で引っ張って簡単に切れるもんなの？ただでさえ引っ張りにくそうなワイヤーなのにさ。
Clay's one thing, but could you really pull hard enough to, like, slice a guy up? Because FYI, that stuff does not look easy to handle.
いい質問だな、渋谷くん。そう。このトリックの肝は、どのようにワイヤーを引っ張ったかだ。
A salient question downtown. Indeed, the crux of this trick is how the wire was tightened.
地下で老子探偵に絡まった状態のワイヤーを引っ張るにはどのような方法があるだろうか。家族くんならわかるかな？
So what method could have been used to pull the wire once it was wrapped around Senior Detective? Any ideas, Posh?
犯人も少しは知恵を使ったようですけれど、私の高貴な脳細胞にはお見通しでしたわよ。
Oh my god, you're a bitch and I love it. The culprit may have had a dash of cleverness up their sleeve, but my upper-class intellect saw right through it.
ズバリ犯人はシャンデリアの落下を利用してワイヤーを引っ張り上げたのですわ。
Put simply, the culprit used the falling chandelier to pull the wire taut.
シャンデリアの落下を利用するってどうやって？シャンデリアのある場所は1階のエントランスホールですけど、現場は地下室でしょ？
How would they do that? The chandelier's up in the entrance hall, but the crime took place down in the basement, right?
やれやれ、庶民にもわかるようエレガントに説明して差し上げましょう。
Dear me, very well, I shall educate the matter so elegantly that even a commoner would understand.
シャンデリアにワイヤーを結びつけて動きが連動するようにしたんだよ。シャンデリアが落下すると自動でワイヤーが巻き上げられる仕組みにね。
The wire was attached to the chandelier so that they would move in tandem. When the latter fell, the former would wind up automatically.
ちょっと私に説明させなさい。
Excuse you, this explanation is mine to give. Posh Detective cuts Holmes off with a huff, then continues where she left off.
犯人は老子探偵を薬か何かで眠らせた後、床へと落下させた状態のシャンデリアにワイヤーをくくりつけたのですわ。
After sedating Senior Detective, the culprit affixed the wire to the chandelier, which had been lowered to the
その
floor.
後、床の隙間を通してワイヤーをエントランスホールから地下室へと垂らせば準備完了。ワイヤーによって2つの空間がつながったのですわ。
Then they threaded the wire through the gaps in the entrance hall floor, allowing them to connect it with the basement.
床にワイヤーを通せるものなんですか？
Would a wire really fit through the floorboards, though?
エントランスホールの床は地下に音が届くよう床板に若干の隙間が空いていましたでしょ。細いワイヤーを通して地下に垂らすことは造作もありませんわ。
Thought she was done. Certainly, if the cracks are large enough for sound to travel between the two spaces, thin wire should pose no issue.
地下に届いたワイヤーを老子探偵の体に結びつけた後、シャンデリアを天井へと引き上げれば準備完了。
Once the wire fed down to the basement was wound around Senior Detective, the chandelier was raised back up into
シ
position.
ャンデリアが天井から落下すると、その動きに連動してワイヤーも引っ張られるという八つ咲き装置の完成ですわ。
When the chandelier came plummeting down later on, it pulled the wire taut and dismembered the victim in one fell
以
swoop.
上のようにして犯人は自らの手を汚さず犯行時刻の隠蔽も果たした上で老子探偵を殺害してみせたのでしょう。
Et voila! The culprit managed to kill Senior Detective without dirtying their hands and successfully obscured the time of death.
見事な推理だ。しかし確証が欲しいな。ワト君はこのトリックの痕跡を覚えているかい？
A superb deduction, but I would like some conclusive evidence. Watto, do you remember the trace this gimmick left behind? The trace it left behind. Now that she mentions it, something suspicious did catch my attention during the investigation. Yeah, it would be the scratches on the chandelier.
シャンデリアに残っていた傷跡はワイヤーがシャンデリアに引っ張られた痕跡だったんですね。
The scratches on the chandelier. Those must have been left when the wire, left by the wire when it scraped against the metal.
エクセレント。その通りだよ、ワト君。
Excellent. That's precisely right,
あの
Watto.
シャンデリアの構造はかなり頑強だ。よほど鋭利なものでも使わない限り傷つかない。
The chandelier is quite durable, so if anything were to cause a scratch, it would have to be extremely sharp.
それこそ鋼鉄すら切断可能なワイヤーでも使わない限りはな。
Like a wire saw capable of cutting through even steel, perhaps.
ならホームズの言う通りワイヤーとシャンデリアの罠が犯行に利用されたことは間違いないだろうね。
Then it's just like you said, the wire saw and chandelier trap were paired up for this little stunt.
無能君、気分はどうだい？
So, how's it feel, incompetent?
気分？どういうこと？
How does what feel?
鈍いな。シャンデリアの罠によって老子探偵が殺されたということはだよ。
See, what makes me ask the most questions, like I get it, this guy's supposed to be androgynous, but I feel like the red, like the bright red high heels he wears, a little too much. And if anybody's going to ask me, well, what bright red high heels? when he choked incompetent in the last video, if you look carefully under the text box, you could see it. He was wearing high heels. There you go. I forgot to check these, so give you a chance to pause and read. Sorry to break up the action. But I already opened the menu, so I thought, yeah, let's just get it over with. Okay. Yeah, we've gone through everyone. Gourmet detective. Wait, have we gone through? I think we've gone through everyone. Movement of 10. Does not work well with others. The most aberrant agent. See, I love how, like, nobody's even got, like, perfect skills. Like, it's all, you know, I don't know, it's well balanced. I like it. Slow on the uptake, aren't we? What I mean is, how does it feel to know that Senior Detective was killed by the chandelier trap?
君が洋館の扉を開かなければ
Holy shit,
ロー
those
ス探
eyes.
偵は八つ咲きにならずに済んだってことじゃないか
He wouldn't have gotten hacked into pieces if you never opened that door, you know. Well, yeah, but somebody would have opened it. Again, somebody would have opened that door. I mean, fuck off. Shock glances through my spine, and I begin to break out in a cold sweat. So, it was all because of me. If I hadn't triggered the trap, then Senior Detective would still be alive. Even now, I can feel the doorknob in my hand. To think that at that moment, a man was being sliced apart right below my feet.
僕が作動させたトラップで
The trap that I triggered.
初めて人を殺してしまった気分はどうだいまるで泥の沼に浸ったみたいに悪くない気分だろう大丈夫すぐになれるさ
How does it feel? How does your first kill feel? Like sinking into the mud of a swamp, huh? Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
下がれ外道探偵私がうんと言うまで口を閉じていろ
Stand down, renegade detective. Keep your lips shut until I say otherwise.
そんなに睨むなよそそられるじゃないか
Oh, don't glower at me like that. Oh, it makes me tingle all over.
警告するのは
I'm putting how I think he's talking.
口を閉じろ
This is your second and final warning. Shut your mouth. Cowed by Holmes, renegade detective seems to cut his losses, backing down. Holmes then turns to me, all signs of anger wiped clean from her face.
無能君動揺するのはわかるが落ち込むのは後にしよう
I know you're shaken, incompetent, but you need to set that grief aside
み
for
んなも
now.
無能君を糾弾したり疑ったりするのは後にしてくれよ入り口のトラップは他の探偵でも発動は避けられなかったものだ
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Somebody eventually would have opened that door. And the rest of you, save your blame and suspicions. Any of us could have triggered the trap at the door. It was unavoidable.
それにむしろ無能君はいい働きをしたと言っていい無能君の行動のおかげで犯人の計画は致命的な狂いが生じてしまったんだ
As a matter of fact, Incompetent actually did something remarkable. His actions forced the culprit to make a fatal error.
僕がいい働きを
I did something remarkable? What could she mean by that? As much as I want to demand the answer, I wait to hear the rest of her deduction.
なあ、家族の姉さんよ。犯人はシャンデリアの落下を利用してワイヤーを引っ張ったんだよな。
Yo, Posh, the crook used the falling chandelier to cinch the wire, right?
ですからそう申していますでしょ。ワイヤーはシャンデリアに連動して。
Did I not say as much? The wire worked in concert with the chandelier.
でもよ、普通にくくりつけたんじゃシャンデリアに合わせて老子探偵が上下の移動を繰り返すだけにならねえか？
You know, I was kind of thinking that myself, because the way they drew it, there would have had to have been... it would have just lifted him up and down. Maybe they used his body weight to cut him through. I don't know. I'll wait for the explanation. Yeah, but wouldn't that just move Senior up and down with the chandelier? That wouldn't really be enough to kill him, right? What?
ヤマト君の言いたいことはわかるよ。地下の老子探偵の体を切断するのに必要なのはワイヤーを引っ張り上げる力だからな。
Again, that's what I was thinking. Like, it would have had to been stronger than just that, or there would have had to been like what is the word? Is it a fulcrum? Like, there would have had to been a third spot to provide an extra angle to create tautness in the wire. That would have, I don't know. Geometry was not my strong suit in math. I see what you're saying, Rowdy. For the wire to dismember Senior Detective, a strong upward force would be required.
落下運動に連動しても切断はできないだろうと言いたいのだろう。
Like, what I'm saying here is if the chandelier falling was what caused the body, or is what caused the rope to become taut and cut him, it would have actually had to have been at an angle. It wouldn't have been just straight above him. You know, it would have had to go out closer to the door towards the pillar. If you're looking at the model, I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it. You know, there would have had to have been an angle. So as it pulled, it became taut. So as the chandelier came down, would have applied force onto the string, forcing it to become taut, and then cut through the body. So there would have had to have been an extra point of connection, which is, I'm guessing, where the sliced carpet comes into play. Oh, I didn't read that, did I?
まあよく言ってることはわからねえけど、多分そんな感じだぜ。
Downward momentum. Not sure I follow you there, but yeah, something like that. Oh, okay. You're suggesting that using a downward momentum on the chandelier wouldn't have accomplished that. Correct, unless there was a third point that the wire was wrapped around, essentially kind of creating a triangle, or it's kind of like hanging somebody, really. There has to be a third point that the rope has to go over to then create the tautness. Because otherwise, if you're just hanging it from it, only the person's body weight is going to create the force to cut through, and I don't think that's enough here. I really hope this is making some semblance of sense.
確かにこれは
Like, I can picture it in my head. What's coming out of my mouth is garbage.
解説を頼めるかい家族くん。
You're right. This is a sticking point. Whatever to do, could you provide us with a rejoinder, Posh?
それはですね。
Right. Well, you see, the thing is,
無能くん、助け舟をあげてくれ。最初に家族くんと推理を行っていたのは誰であったか覚えているだろう。
Throw her a lifeline, incompetent. Do you recall who was initially investigating with Posh? There was only one detective who was initially investigating with Posh at the start. That was Gourmet.
美食さん、あなたならシャンデリアの落下を利用して老子探偵を殺害する方法に気づいているんじゃないですか？
Gourmet, am I right to assume you figured out how the chandelier's downward movement was used to kill Senior Detective?
あらあら、 美味しいところを
Oh my god.
取るみた
She
いだから
oughta.
黙っているつもりだったけれど、そういう
cover
わけにも
those
いかないよ
things.
ね
I'm too distracted. Oh my, you looked like you were just about to get to the tasty part, so I didn't want to interrupt. But if you insist.
難しい話じゃないわ。犯人は滑車装置の原理でローシちゃんの体とシャンデリアとをワイヤーで結びつけたのよ。
Yeah, okay. It's kind of what I was thinking. Like it would have had to been like a pulley. Like again, there has to be a way to create the tautness in the string. It couldn't just be a straight up connection from chandelier to body. Otherwise, it would have taken it too long to slice through. Basically, using gravity, which I don't think they used.
そうそれですわ。滑車装置を利用したのですわ。私ってば度忘れしてしまうだなんて。
Of course, they used a pulley system. It was so obvious. I suppose it just slipped my mind.
滑車装置って井戸のつるべなどに使われているあれですか？それを使えばどうなるんですか？
A pulley system like what you use in a well. How would that help in this situation?
難しい話じゃないわ。図を描きながら解説してあげるわね。
It's not as tricky as it seems. Here, I'll break it down for you with a diagram.
シャンデリアの罠は一度落下した後も壁のスイッチを押すとゆっくり天井まで引き上げられることで何度でも使える仕組みだったわ。
No matter how many times the chandelier has been dropped, it can always be raised back up to the ceiling using the
こ
wall
の
switch.
引き上げる力がとってもパワフルでね。人より体重の重い私でも
Voluptuous vixen.
軽々と引き上げてくれたの。
That mechanism can bear considerable weight. So much that it will be able to lift a voluptuous vixen like myself with ease. See, I like characters like her that are really sexy but also know it.
私よりずっと身軽なローシちゃんの体なら重さに加わっても全然平気でしょうね。
Hoisting dear senior up would have been easier, considering how much lighter he is.
シャンデリアの上に乗って一緒に登ったんですか？
You're saying you rode the chandelier up to the ceiling?
楽しかったわよ。それに天井の近くで貴重な手がかりも見つけられたわ。
Oh yes, it was quite the wild ride. Plus I discovered a juicy clue when I reached the top.
それはワイヤーを引っ掛けていたと思われるフック。それも登山用の強靭なもので凶器のワイヤー層が擦れても平気な材質のね。
It was a hook, the one the wire was probably hung on. It's designed for mountaineering, so it'd be sturdy enough to withstand the
その
tension.
フックを通してシャンデリアにワイヤーをくくりつければ簡単な滑車装置の出来上がり。ついでにこの状態でワイヤーを力いっぱい引っ張ればワイヤーの緩みも調整できるわ。
With the wire draped over the hook, then tied to the chandelier, you could adjust the slack in the wire with a sharp
ロー
jerk.
シちゃんは天井に貼り付け状態で何もできなかったはず。恐ろしいトリックよね。
Yeah, and so as the chandelier would fall, it would the rope would even pull up against the ceiling, slamming him up against the ceiling of the basement, and again just continue to pull through him. Dear Senior would have been bound to the ceiling, unable to do a thing. What a horrible trick.
老子探偵の獅子に見られた絵師の痕跡は相当長い間天井に貼り付け状態だった証拠だな。ゾッとしないよ。
The traces of necrosis on Senior Detective's limbs indicate that he was pinned up there for quite some time. I shudder to think of it.
滑車装置さえ作ってしまえばロープを使うなりしてシャンデリアから降りて準備は完了。誰かが扉を開くのを待つだけというわけですわね。
With this pulley system in place, all that would remain is to descend With this pulley system in place, all that would remain is to descend the chandelier with a rope and wait for someone to open the door.
降りる時に使ったロープはどうやって回収を？
But how would you gather up the rope you used to climb down the chandelier?
おバカさんですわね。そんなのいくらでも回収方法はあります
You
わ。
precious dimwit. Oh, you precious dimwit you. There are so many ways one could collect it after the fact.
例えばもやい結びやスリップノットにすれば降りた後に引っ張ってほどくこともできる。今度ゆっくりと教えてあげるよ。
For example, if you used a bowline or a slip knot, you can undo it upon reaching the ground with a simple tug. I'll show you sometime. Oh, she's gonna show him how to do knots. Ooh, kinky. I'm at a loss for how to respond when presented with these knot options, as if they were obvious possibilities. Aside from armor, no one seems phased, as if it was just common detective knowledge. I really am terrifyingly out of my depth here. Hey guys, give me a second, I gotta step away. Sorry about that cut, guys. I had to break up a literal cat fight, and then I thought, hey, you know what? I feel gross, I don't smell great, I need a shower, because I've been neglecting that for, I'm not gonna tell you how long. Yeah, I know, I'm a gross son of a bitch. Oh my god, I feel better. Oh, I feel so comfortable sitting at my desk now. Where were we?
以上のようにして犯人は私たちが
I like the drawing.
訪れるよりずっと前にトリックの準備を済ませ洋館を後にしたんだ。
There you have it. The culprit finished the preparations long before we even arrived on the island and put the manor behind them.
そして僕が扉を開いてトラップが作動したことでワイヤーは滑車装置で巻き上げられて直し探偵の体を引き裂いたんですね。
And then I opened the door, triggering the trap, yanking the wire up in the pulley system, and slicing Senior Detective apart. To think that someone could orchestrate such a kill while their victim remained down in the basement. I just can't fathom it. I feel a shiver run down my spine at the hidden culprit's ingenuity, as well as their barbarity.
なんと卑劣な犯行か。自分の手を汚さないばかりか、他者の手を借りて惨殺するなど許せないのである。
What a craven deed, using another's hand instead of dirtying one's own to commit so heinous an act. It is beyond forgiveness.
僕がさっきエントランスホールで見つけた切れた絨毯の断片はワイヤーを地下から上に通していた証拠なんだよね。
So, the torn piece of carpet I found in the entrance hall was cut by the wire as it shot up from the basement, right?
ええ、断面を調べてみましたが 100% ワイヤーによって切れたものです。
Correct. I analyzed the fragment and can attest with 100% certainty that it was severed by the
お
wire.
そらく引っ張り上げられた際にワイヤーが床の隙間を通って移動し絨毯が切れたんです。今回の犯人の思考不足が伺えますね。
When the wire was pulled up through the gap, it shifted and sliced the carpet in one spot. Therefore, the culprit never did a trial run. Dude, I love this art style. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm not usually super into like the very like angular look in the character design, but it works for this game. It's a really cool. It's a really cool style.
証拠を残しすぎなのですわ。この偉大なるピンカートン家の後継ぎ家族探偵を相手取るには役者不足だったようですわね。
Oh, how sloppy they must be to leave so many clues. They never stood a chance at besting me, heir to the illustrious Pinkerton name.
だけど、それじゃあ誰が犯人に。
Excuse me. But the question still remains. Who's responsible for this?
それはおそらく扉を開いたそこの庶民ではありませんの。もともと怪しかったのですし。
Huh? Is it not clearly this commoner who opened the door? He was disreputable from the start.
いや、このトリックは準備さえ整えてしまえば、あとは誰かがこの洋館の扉を開くのを待つだけでいい。
No. Once the trick was set up, the culprit would merely have to wait for someone to inevitably open the door.
つまり、誰にでも犯行が可能なトリックなんだ。入り口を開いた張本人である無能君だけでなく、私たち探偵同盟のメンバーでもね。
In other words, it could have been anyone. Triggering the trap may make incompetent the prime suspect, but he's still one of our own.
ちょっと社畜さん、何をおっしゃいますの？私たちは今日本土から数時間かけてこの島に来たんですのよ。
Excuse me. Now hold on here, workaholic. What could you possibly mean by that? We spent hours traveling here from the mainland today.
私たちに反抗など不可能に決まっていますわ。浅ましすぎる発言はたとえ庶民といえども許しませんわよ。
In what universe could any of us have been responsible for the crime? Your suggestion is deplorable, even for a commoner.
研究棟の人らが殺されたのって1日以上前でしょ？だったら今集まってるうちらにも犯行は可能なんじゃね？
Those peeps and snarks were killed, like, over a day ago, right? Doesn't that mean one of us could have done it back
この
then?
島の人たちを皆殺しにして老子探偵を殺すトリックを準備してから本土に戻って何食わぬ顔でうちらに合流する。
The killer could have wiped out everyone on the island, set up the trap, and then bounced to the meetup with the rest of us and put on the innocent act.
もし犯人があの八つ咲き校ならそれくらい余裕でやるっしょ。
If the culprit's really the quartering duke, they could totally pull that off.
そんな最低最悪なクソ野郎だからこそうちらはわざわざ集まったんだからさ。
That piece of trash is literally the worst. He's, like, the reason we even have to be here in the first place.
そんな仲間同士で疑い合うだなんて。
Ugh, the nerve. How dare they turn us on one another.
おいおい待ちなよ。もっと最悪なパターンがあるだろう。
Hey now, let's back up a bit here. There's something that makes this even worse, you know. Renegade detective cuts in gleefully.
もっと最悪なパターン。それって何のことですか？
Even worse. How do you mean?
決まっているじゃないか。犯人を見つけ出せるならまだマシ。
Isn't it obvious? Things would be fine if we could still track down the culprit.
もっと最悪なパターンは犯人がすでに島から逃げ去っていることだよ。
But worst case scenario, they already escaped from the island. The atmosphere tenses in an instant. As much as we hoped to believe otherwise, it was a possibility we couldn't ignore.
仮に今回の一連の犯行が八つ咲公の仕業だとしたら、すでに逃げ去っている方が現実的だよね。
If we're assuming this is the work of the quartering duke, isn't it only rational to conclude that he's booked it by now?
だって探偵同盟の本部を壊滅させることには成功。置き土産に老子探偵を殺害する罠まで残せた。
He success.
どうして島に残る必要があるのかな。
Stop taking such long pauses. He successfully destroyed HQ after all. He even left us with the parting gift of Senior Detective's murder. Why stay after that?
俺ならサクッと逃げちゃうな。そして戻ってこない。そうすれば疑われることもないんだもの。
Dude, he reminds me of not like specifically any of the particular characters from Angel of Death, or is Angels of Death or Angel? I can't remember. Fucking amazing anime, by the way. Go check it out. But like that's the kind of character he strikes me as, like somebody who would be in that facility. If it were me, I'd hightail it the second I was able, never to return. That way, I wouldn't even be suspected.
よほど強い意志と目的でもない。
Unless I had a strong motive to do otherwise, that is. No one can argue with Renegade's words. I suspect it takes a homicidal maniac to give up some perspective on another. Just like he said, it'd be counterintuitive for the culprit to remain or even return to the island at this point.
それじゃあこの事件は
Then the case is...
誰にでも犯行が可能である以上、もう推理しようがない。完全に手詰まりってわけだ。
Yep, If anyone's to blame, then we may as well be wild mass guessing. That's an impasse if I ever saw one. I love his look. It just makes me smile every time I see him. I examine everyone's faces again. Their eyes are filled with a suspicion and hostility that wasn't there before. I believed I could trust them just moments ago, but now a dark shadow hangs above us. If the culprit already fled, we'll never track down Senior Detective's killer. But what if they're still here? They could very well be among us. Either way, it's a bitter pill to swallow. It's no surprise the team's morale is taking a hit.
顔を上げろ探偵諸君推理はまだ終わっていないぞ
Stiff upper lip, ladies and gentlemen. This investigation hasn't ended yet. Holmes's voice dispels the gloom.
確かにこの事件の真相はどうあがいても悲劇かもしれない
It's true. Regardless of our actions, the reality of the situation is a tragic one.
だがそもそも探偵とは悲劇の後に必要とされる存在だ我々が悲劇を前に起こしてしまっては誰が立ち向かうというんだ
However, it's a detective's duty to attend to the aftermath of any tragedy. If we hesitate, who else will take the mantle? Holmes sends a wink my way before making her announcement.
この事件の犯人は一つ致命的なミスを犯してしまったそれを今から私が解き明かしてみせよう
As mentioned previously, the culprit made one fatal error, which I shall now share with you all.
悲劇など我々の手で覆してやろうじゃないか探偵諸君
After all, reversing tragedies is precisely what we must do, ladies and gentlemen. The group falls silent, listening intently to what Ideal has to say. For this particular trick, anyone could have performed the killing act, so long as the proper preparations were made. It's possible the perpetrator has already fled, though. If they are still present, they could very well be a part of the DA. How does Holmes intend to turn such a desperate situation around?
まだ自らの推理を話していない子がいるだろそれが誰か無能君もわかるだろ
I believe someone has yet to share their theory. Incompetent. You know to whom I refer to, yes? The investigator who hasn't spoken yet is... Okay. Yeah, looking at the evidence doesn't help us. So Rowdy has talked. Because that was the whole thing when we figured out the pulley system. Armor wasn't even a part of the investigation, so it would have to be Bookworm.
文学さん、確かあなたはこの部屋の暖炉を見て何かに気づいた様子でしたよね。
Bookworm, you were looking at the fireplace when you noticed something, right?
あなたは何に気づいたんですか？
What was it you saw?
こそこそと見ていたんですか気持ち悪いです死んでくださいと少女はロリコンとおぼしき少年へと蔑みの目を向けた
So you were spying on me then? Get lost and die, Humbert, said the girl to the perverted youth, her detest for him clear on her face.
いや、これはその
What? No, that's not...
よさないか、文学探偵。
That's enough, Bookie.
すまないな、無能探偵。この子は少々人付き合いが不慣れなんだ。
Apologies, incompetent. I'm afraid her social graces are a bit lacking.
全然気にしてないですよ。
Oh, don't worry about it. I give a strained laugh as I attempt to recover from the mental blow I was just dealt.
お前もずっと暖炉の件を話したがっていたじゃないか。みんなに話してやれ。
Weren't you chomping at the bit to tell everyone about the fireplace? Come on, say it.
言われずともそのつもりですけどと少女は不満混じりの声で返事をし解説を始める
I intended to, whether or not I was asked, huffed the girl matter-of-factly before beginning her explanation.
私たちがこの部屋を訪れた際暖炉に火が灯っていました
この点に違和感を覚え、ずっとその正体を探っていたのです。と少女は自らの考えを口にした。
When we first entered, this fire was lit. Something felt off about this, so I spent my time pondering the matter, the girl began.
違和感ですか。その正体って？
Something was off. What matter are you talking about?
この国では馴染みが薄く知らないのも当然であろうが、暖炉の火というのはそう長く持たないんだ。
This style of hearth isn't commonplace in this country, so it's no surprise that you would be unaware that these fires don't burn for long.
薪を頻繁に追加してやらなければ6時間も持たない。よくて5時間といったところだろう。
Unless wood is added regularly, they will not last more than 6 hours. Even 5 would be an exceptional amount of time.
そんなに頻繁な管理が必要なものなんですね。
Huh, so it really needs to be tended
で
to.
も皆さんの中の誰かが寒いから火を灯したんじゃないですか。もう3月とはいえ、この島は肌寒いですし。
But isn't it possible someone started the fire because they were feeling cold? I know it's March, but this island gets pretty chilly.
殺人事件が起こった館の暖炉を勝手につける探偵がいるわけないでしょ。
Calls him a sexual deviant. No proper detective
少女は
would...
犯罪者予備軍の少年を罵倒した。
God damn it, stop with the pauses. No proper detective would use a fireplace at a crime scene, you sexual deviant, said the girl, chiding the would-be offender.
それもそうですね。
Oh, right.
文学探偵の言う通りだ。私たちの中に暖炉をつけようとする者はいない。
It's as Bookie says, I doubt there's a soul among us who would use the fireplace in this situation.
いるとしたら犯人だけだ。犯人は何らかの理由を持って暖炉に火をつけた。そしてそれはこの数時間に起きた出来事なんだ。
The only individual who would is the culprit. They had some incentive to ignite these flames, and it happened within the last several hours.
二人ともいい点に気づいてくれたな。そう、その暖炉に火をつけてしまったことこそ犯人の失策の一つさ。
You both noticed something vital. The very act of lighting the fire was quite a blunder on the perpetrator's
お
behalf.
そらく暖炉の火の持続時間に関する知識がなかったのだろう。だからこそ軽率にも暖炉に火をつけてしまった。いや、つけざるを得なかったんだ。
It appears they were unaware of how long the fire would burn, but that is precisely why they lit it. There was no other choice.
つけざるを得なかった。
They had to light the fire.
ああ、このワイヤーを取り扱うのに必要なグローブを処分するためにな。
Indeed, all to dispose of the gloves necessary to manipulate the wire saw. Saying this, Holmes fishes a single black glove from her pocket and waves it at us.
君たちも知っての通り、今回の犯行に使われたワイヤーソーは切れ味が良すぎるゆえに特別製のグローブが必要だ。犯人は間違いなくこのグローブを所持していたことだろう。
As you all know, said wire saw is so fine that it requires specially made gloves to handle, gloves which the culprit possessed.
このグローブの所持がバレれば犯人として疑われる。かといって指紋のべったりついたグローブをどこかへ隠すのはリスクが高い。だからこうするしかなかったのさ。
Were the gloves to be found on any of our persons, the owner would be quite suspect. Ergo, their only recourse was to burn them. With that, Holmes flings the gloves into the fireplace. Oh, okay. I accidentally pressed B. I was like, what? What's the dialogue? It disappears into the flames, hissing all the while. It may have been made of sturdy material, but it clearly wasn't fireproof.
暖炉の中から焼け残ったグローブの残骸を見つけることもできましたよ。と少女はリーダーへと報告した。
I managed to find the burnt remains of a glove in the fireplace, the girl reported to the chief.
あの火力で焼け残るとは、炎の精霊イフリートとの交友を深めていなかったがゆえの失態か。
So the glove didn't burn entirely, despite the heat. Perhaps forming a pact with the Ifrits would have better served them.
ちょっと意味不明なのでスルーしますと少女は無視を決め込んだ。
Not sure what that means, so we'll just ignore that, the girl said dismissively.
素晴らしい発見だよ文学くん。これで犯人がワイヤー用のグローブを処理するために暖炉をつけたことは確定した。
Brilliant discovery, Bookworm. From this, we can deduce that the culprit lit the fire in an attempt to dispose of the gloves.
このことからどんな事実が伺えるかな。魔界くん、君ならわかるだろ。
Now, what further conclusion can we draw? I'm sure you could tell us, Mystic.
無論だ。犯人がこの洋館を脱出できたならば、グローブなど適当な場所に放ってしまえばいい。近くに海もあるのだからな。
Naturally, had the culprit escaped the manor, they could have discarded the gloves any number of ways, not least of which being the ocean.
わざわざ洋館の中で処分したということは、洋館の外に出られなかったということだ。
The fact that they attempted to do so within the manor instead suggests that a getaway was not in the cards.
グッド、その通りだよ魔界くん。
Yes, precisely so,
この
Mystic.
洋館から研究棟までは一本道。道以外は断崖で、とても人間は降りられない。
The sole path from Gormenghast to Snarks is a straight shot. Apart from that, there's only a cliff no person could easily
それ
descend.
に何より、私たちが研究棟に到着してからこの数時間、見張りを欠かさなかったが、洋館から脱出した者は皆無だった。
Most importantly, during the several hours after our arrival, we never failed to keep watch. Not one soul fled from the building.
この暖炉に火を灯した人は、まだ館の内部にいるということですね。と、少女はリーダーの言葉に納得するのであった。
Put in another way, whoever lit the fire is still inside the manor as we speak, said the girl following the chief's logic.
この館の内部に。
They're still inside the manor? The detectives eye each other suspiciously. But of course, why wouldn't they? If the culprit is still inside the manor, that means they're hiding within our group.
落ち着け、探偵諸君。確かに、私たちの中に犯人がいるという事実は悲しいことだが、何よりも重大な事実がある。
Remain calm, ladies and gentlemen. While it is dispiriting to have the culprit among us, there is one fact more critical than any
そ
other.
れは、八つ崎公が確実に、この洋館の中にいるということだ。
The fact that the quartering duke is, without question, inside this very manor.
どうして言い切れるんですか？
But how can you be so sure?
君が現れたおかげだよ、無能君。
It's all thanks to your turning up here incompetent.
僕がどういう意味ですか？
Me? What do you mean? Holmes chuckles lightly before continuing.
八つ崎公にとって君の存在はイレギュラーに違いないからさ。その証拠に八つ崎公は2つの致命的なミスを犯している。
The quartering duke, you see, did not account for your presence. Two fatal errors suggest this is the
1つ
case.
は痕跡を残したこと。おそらく犯人の元々の計画では証拠など残さずに姿を消すつもりだったはずだ。
Firstly, a trace of the crime still remained. Had it all gone accordingly, I suspect the original plan would leave no such evidence.
そうすれば下道君が言っていたように、もう八つ崎公が島から脱出したものと考えざるを得ない。推理のしようがなくなり、混乱に陥っていたからな。
Then, as Renegade pointed out, we would have assumed the Duke already escaped, throwing our investigation into disarray. I see. If the Duke's goal wasn't to put us off his scent, there would have been any need to engineer. There wouldn't have been any need to engineer such a complex murder. For all intents and purposes, this should have been an unsolvable case.
しかしそこに無能くんが現れ、予定よりも早くトラップを起動させてしまった上に入り口で気絶してしまった。
However, Incompetent triggered the trap earlier than anticipated. What's more, he passed out in the
もし
entryway.
仮に洋館内に犯人がいたとしたら、さぞ慌てたことだろう。なぜならこの洋館は窓がすべてはめ殺しで、出るには唯一の扉をくぐるほかない。
The culprit was likely panicking inside the manor. While all the windows fitted, the front door was the only means of
な
escape.
のにそこには男が倒れている。もし逃げる時に目覚めて顔を見られたら一巻の終わりだ。
But with this boy unconscious by the door, the chance of him waking and catching them as they fled was too great a risk.
殺そうにも実力も素性も不明。おとなしく身を隠す他にない。さらにそこへ他の探偵たちまでやってきてしまう。
With no knowledge of his background or ability, it would be unwise to try and kill him. As the others were en route, the culprit opted to hide.
犯人は隙を見て暖炉で証拠だけ隠滅してしまった。どうだい？しっかりとした筋書きだろ。
Flustered, they saw their chance and used the fireplace to dispose of the evidence. Well, my deduction is quite sound, yes? No one contradicts Holmes' statement. She's right. If there was any irregularity in the culprit's plan, it would be me. I may lack experience, and I failed to save Senior, but it's thanks to me that a major flaw was introduced into the murderer's plan. It's a bit ironic, really.
その可能性があったか。全然気づかなかったよ。
What can I say? I never considered that possibility.
わざわざ混乱を生む発言をしておいてよく言うな。どうせ最初から全て気づいていた上で場を混乱させたのだろ。こん
You have some nerve saying that after all your misleading comments. I'd wager that you had this figured out, but decided to stir the pot anyways.
お待ちなさい。どうして八つ崎公の犯行だと言い切れますの？
Now wait just a moment. How can you be so certain the quartering Duke is the
八
culprit?
つ崎公の犯行の特徴は常に被害者が2人同時に現れること。確かに研究棟のスタッフに多数の死傷者が出ていますけど、これまでの犯行とは全く。
The Duke's murders are characterized by two simultaneous victims. Even with the deceased staff here, this case is entirely different.
それが2つ目のミスなんだよ、家族くん。
Therein lies their second mistake, Posh. Posh falls silent. Holmes turns her gaze to me, then smiles coldly before getting into the heart of the matter.
本来この扉を開けた者は罠に引っかかり、老子探偵と共に死ぬはずだった。
In the original plan, the individual who opened the door was intended to spring the trap and die alongside Senior Detective.
本来殺すはずの2人目の犠牲者を出せなかったことこそが八つ崎公最大の失敗さ。
That is to say, failing to produce a second victim was the quartering Duke's greatest mistake.
なんですって？
Beg pardon? Oh. Now I remember when the trap sprung, I felt a pain in my head that led me to avoid the trap by all means. I should have died right then. In other words, I nearly avoided a tragic fate as quartering Duke's latest victim.
はいはい。被害者が2人いたかもしれないからって、八つ崎公の犯行と断定するのは早計じゃないか？
Okay, I'm gonna shoot my shot here. I think it was Posh, because she was the one we couldn't. I get it. She's very self-important, so maybe I'm reading something into this. But because we couldn't control her during the tutorial or whatever, she was the one to show us that sometimes they just don't want to listen to you. Maybe she didn't want to listen to us because she's the culprit. She's the quartering Duke, or Duchess, I guess in this case. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a guess. Oh, hold on. Aren't we being too a bit quick to assume this was the Duke's doing? Just because there could have been two victims. It may just be another copycat. You feel me?
分かっていながら尋ねるな、外道探偵。お前もシリアルキラーならわかるはずだろ。
Stop asking questions you know the answer to. A fellow serial killer such as yourself ought to understand
これ
him.
はただのか乱を狙った犯行ではなく宣戦布告だ。わざわざリスクの高い手段で老子探偵を惨殺してみせることで八崎公は私たちにこう言っている。
This was not simply to sow the seeds of discord. It was clearly a declaration of war. Killing Senior in such a risky way is proof of that.
真相を解き明かしてみせろ。さもなくば全員八つ咲きにしてやる。
Reveal the truth, or you will all be dismembered. That is what he means to tell us.
面白くなってきたね。俺も全力で楽しませてもらうとするよ。My
Things are getting interesting. I, for one, am ready to have a ball, my dear Holmes. With Renegade Detective satisfied, Holmes claps once, turning attention back to her.
では今回の事件をまとめるとしよう。
Very good. Now to briefly summarize.
八つ咲公は私たちの訪れる数日前に島を訪れ職員を全員殺害した。
The Quartering Duke came to the island a few days prior to our arrival, murdering all personnel present.
その後シャンデリアと老子探偵とをワイヤーで結びつけ罠が作動してシャンデリアが落下すれば老子探偵が死ぬよう細工洋館を後にした。
He affixed Senior Detective to the chandelier, ensuring he would be killed when it descended. Following that, the Duke left the manor.
後日研究棟に私たちが訪れたところを見計らって老子探偵の声で私に連絡。一部の探偵を洋館へと誘導する。
Later, while we were at the research facility, they sent a message to me using Senior's voice, luring a portion of our group back to the manor.
そこで扉を開いた探偵と老子探偵を同時に殺害し2人の犠牲者を出すことで八つ咲公の犯行であることを示唆。
In doing so, whoever opened the door to the manor would die at the same moment as Senior Detective, producing two victims, the Duke's modus operandi.
それと同時に犯人である八つ咲公が島の外へと逃げ出せた可能性を示すことで私たちを混乱に陥れる。
This was also meant to conceal the Duke's presence and facilitate his escape amidst the chaos. Or so went the plan, at least.
だがそこでイレギュラーが生じる。それは計画外の人物が計画外の時間に罠を作動させたことだ。
But it was at that exact moment when things went awry, when an unforeseen individual triggered the trap earlier than expected.
そのイレギュラーのせいで犯人
This
が
music is awesome.
慌てて証拠隠滅を図った。その結果不自然に暖炉に火が灯り証拠品も焼け残ってしまった。
This deviation prevented the culprit from fleeing. In their panic, they disposed of the evidence in the fireplace, but it didn't burn completely.
以上のことから八つ咲公が今どこにいるか無能君イレギュラーの主である君が結論を告げろ。
So concludes my synopsis. Now we must ask, where is the Quartering Duke? Surely as the irregularity, you can tell us, incompetent. Well, I'm not sure.
八つ咲公はこの洋館の中にいます。
The Quartering Duke is inside the manor.
その通りだ。八つ咲公は私たちのすぐそばにいる。
Precisely. The Quartering Duke himself stands among our
無能
ranks.
君が生み出してくれたこの一筋の光明を逃すわけにはいかない。ここまではやられてばかりだったが反撃開始といこう。
We must take advantage of this opportunity. Incompetent has granted us. Having suffered blow after blow, it is now our turn to act.
私たち全員で追い込んでやろうじゃないか。
Cam is afoot.
この嘘にまみれた悲劇を終わらせるために。
The game is afoot. Let us bring an end to this tragedy drenched in deceit. Okay. This is really cool. Okay, so victim, senior detective, culprit unknown. cause of death, dismembered by wire saw. Sequence, the culprit killed senior detective from afar by using the chandelier trap and wire saw. This gimmick was set up in advance, making it hard to pin down the culprit. They remain unidentified, but must be inside the manor. Contribution, 100%. S rank.
了でもまあ通り魔事件の推理はここまでってことでよくね
Sure thing, girl, but can we, like, put a pause on the whole investigation thing? Given the situation, downtown's casual demeanor feels monumentally out of place.
解ける謎はあらかた解けてこれ以上は犯人を踏んづかまえて問いただせばいいじゃんうちはもうお腹が減りすぎてヘリンボーンだよ
We've pretty much solved the mystery. All we gotta do now is, like, catch the bad guy, yeah? Why don't we take a break and chill for a bit?
一旦休憩にしようよみんなお疲れモードだしこれ以上話しても拉致あかんべ
No lie, I'm mad hungry right now. Besides, it's not like talking in circles is gonna go anywhere if we're all running on empty.
さすがは渋谷殿、良いことを言うのである。
Here, here, Lady Downtown. Pray, let us heed her
どう
wisdom.
せ犯人はこの洋館から出られぬのであろう。ならば我らがまず行うべきは犯人との開口に備え英気を養うことである。
The culprit was unable to make their escape correct, in which case we ought to regain our strength and prepare for the battles to come.
それもそうだな。本土からこの島までの移動時間も含めれば私たちはすでに半日以上休みなしで活動を続けている。
A valid point. Factoring in travel time, we've been going at it non-stop for a day and a half so far. Holmes chuckled ruefully at Downtown and Armor's comments, but speaks with a clear, firm voice.
渋谷君の言う通り、交代で洋館の出入り口を見張りながら食事をとることにしよう。
Let us take turns standing watch at the door. In the meantime, as Downtown suggested, the rest of us can relax and enjoy a meal. With Holmes's words, the group lets out a collective sigh of relief. No one has to say it. We're all clearly exhausted. The detectives chatter away as we head toward the dining room. The atmosphere has finally become calm and relaxed. Despite that, the tightness in my chest won't disappear. I groan quietly as I feel another migraine coming on. It's just like when the chandelier fell, as if I'm not myself.
無能先輩大丈夫頭痛いのバフィロンあげようか
Hey, you good, dude? Does your head feel okay? I've got some painkillers if you need them.
無理は良くないのである。さあ、食堂までおんぶするから我に
I shall be your steed. You mustn't overexert yourself. Hold tight, for I shall be your steed to the dining hall.
大丈夫大丈夫だから本部は勘弁してください
It's fine. I really don't need to be carried. After some time, the pain recedes, but I can't understand it. Why is my body such a wreck right now?
渋谷さん念のために後でバフィロンもらっていいかな
Hey, Downtown, can I get one of those painkillers later? Just in case.
りょもちろん OK だよ先輩には借りもできちゃってたみたいだしね
Sure, no problem. Just don't forget, you owe me one now.
仮
I do?
まあ通り魔食堂行こう置いてかれて変な疑いかけられたら最悪だしね
Now come on, let's hit the dining hall. Don't want anyone getting all sus about us hanging back too long, you know? Downtown doesn't wait for me to respond, instead pulling my hand and leading me into the dining hall. Okay, guys, this video has gone on more than long enough. It has, I'm not sure if there's gonna be like chapters or what, because like it just said day one evening, so I'm not sure how this game's gonna be broken up and all that, but I think we are finally at a good stopping point. So thanks for watching. Social media in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, I'm out.